And I think just gonna drop the.
That works. You started it though.
Who knows?
We'll never
Who knows?
We'll only find out after we've been here for an hour.
Oh.
My God, she's fighting me. Okay, here.
The lap is comfier, Audrey. Just trust us.
All right, be good. Be good. How are you, Elisa?
Pretty good. How are you?
Well enough. So, one more rule. You can't say anything until we say your name. Welcome to The Wardrobe. This is the Who You Know podcast. I'm Rylan Deemer.
And I'm Elisa Wildy.
And we've got a very special episode for you all today because we were joined by a VIP guest, a family member of Elisa, Elisa's sister,
Yeah.
Alexa.
Hello.
Take it away. I'm just kidding.
So Elisa went through the work of convincing Alexa to join us on the podcast today.
Sweat and tears. Took a lot. Be thankful.
Elisa also said you're really, I'm trying to remember what the phrasing was, like chatty or talkative. Do you agree with that assessment?
No.
I'm trying to start trouble right away.
Okay, yeah. If you get on a topic that you know a lot about,
That's true. if I am on a topic that I love talking about, then I talk about it for a long time.
What's an example of something you love talking about?
I guess like random projects that I've done.
Okay.
and how often do you do a random project?
How often do I come up with a random project that I want to do? Like once a week. How often do I achieve accomplishing that project? Probably like 5 times a year because they're usually pretty extensive projects and I never start any.
So the fact that you can get through 5.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
So what is it like? Why do you prefer talking about something like a project that you've done as opposed to baseball statistics?
Maybe if I did a project on baseball statistics, I would enjoy it, but I feel like the projects I've done, I've learned so much more, and I feel like I'm a step up, so I am a reasonable person to talk about it. Otherwise, I feel like I don't have the authority to talk about it.
Oh, so it's not like a confidence born out of expertise, but rather like a moral, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Is it like do you think that people should speak generally only on things on which they have some degree of authority?
No, it's just how I roll. So.
Okay. So it's your own internal.
Yep.
Well, and I was going to say, like, you probably wouldn't choose to do a project on, like, baseball stats that you have no interest in. So usually I feel like your projects are already stuff you're super interested in. And I feel like it's really easy to talk about something you're more passionate about, I was going to say. Ergo. I hate that word. It's like...
Vis-a-vis.
It's like you do the project because you're interested about it, and that's why you can talk about both, too.
Yep.
But I don't even do projects, really. So,
We're literally doing one right now.
That's true.
That's true. I don't have, like, I always tell people I don't really have hobbies of my own, though. So it'd be nice to, like...
You have scrapbooking. I feel like that's a hobby.
It is, but I've kind of been getting over it.
I feel like traveling is a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
You're an editor now, so if you edit something other than this podcast, that would be your own thing.
So what's like a recent project that you've done that you would like to talk about? Show off.
one project I'm working on right now, which may not seem exciting to you, but I'm hoping that works. I'm buckling down and starting a compost bin. Obviously, I live in the dorms and in college, so have to make sure that it doesn't smell so my roommates don't help like tear me apart.
So you'll have the compost bin in your actual dorm unit or,
Yes.
or whatever. Yeah.
I have like a worm bin right now, but it doesn't take as much food as I'm producing. So
Describe a worm bin. Like what is that for the audience?
It's a box full of dirt and worms and then your kitchen scraps.
Like banana peels, apple cores.
Yep. And then also dry stuff like cardboard, which I've been forgetting to do.
Do you have to wet it down before you put it in or something? No.
Nope.
And then the worms just eat everything, kind of, to compost it?
Yeah, my
Are-
worms are kind of picky, so they like flowers. They'll eat flowers like within a day, but everything else, they'll like choose their favorite.
And are these like regular earthworms or are they some other kinds of varieties of worms?
They're red wiggler worms only because I wanted to get a worm that was native to wherever I lived, and red wigglers are native to all of the U.S. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Why native?
Because if it didn't work out, I wanted to release them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
But I feel like I've heard not only did it work out, but they've multiplied by the hundreds. Could I say that?
Maybe 100. That's
Okay.
about it.
Okay.
When you open it, do you see them like writhing around like
Only
Something
if
from a
I
horror
like
movie?
mix them up.
okay.
Yeah.
So they're in there. Okay. So then what's the difference between what you're trying to do now?
Right now I'm trying to do basically use microorganisms instead of, worms to decompose, because I can just put everything that I have in and then they'll take however long they need to take, while also keeping the smell non-existent.
What do you mean by everything you have? Like, are you not doing some things?
Well, right now I'm not giving my worms any of my kitchen scraps because they're too wet, because I haven't been giving them like cardboard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the cardboard is dry and leaches some of the moisture out, and you need to maintain like a certain level of
Yep.
hydration in there.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I'm learning a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know this either. Obviously, we need to talk more. So, what step of the process are you in right now for this? Is it just at the idea stage still?
I have the idea, but I moved to a separate idea because I didn't have the materials for it. So now I'm going to a separate idea. I guess I'm in like phase 2 of choosing the idea because I have the materials, so I'm going to use those.
This is super fascinating, by the way. Not the camera.
They're like the easiest pet to take care of.
Worms?
Yeah.
Do you take care of them? Is my question.
I'm learning how to take care of them.
Taking them on walks.
Yeah. That's what I say I'm
Leash
doing
training.
with my worms when I open the lid. Yeah, I'm just taking them on a walk.
So, this worm box, like composting in general, that's a very like pro environment, minimize our landfill waste kind of thing. Is that correct?
And also minimize greenhouse gases.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So depending on which microorganisms are decomposing your food, if the not ideal microorganisms are decomposing your food, then they produce methane gas, which is what happens in the landfill. So
Interesting.
yeah.
But these won't.
Correct, because you're doing I forget the word. Oh, aerobic decomposition. So it's not anaerobic, which means different microorganisms live in the soil that you're making.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why do you care about trying to reduce
The greenhouse
Yeah,
gases.
why care?
Because I find joy in spending time outside, and I want outside to last longer.
And are you concerned about that at the moment?
I mean, I try not to concern myself because, I mean, I'm doing the best I can, so I feel fine.
Yeah.
The earth has a way of healing itself, so I feel like it'll heal itself.
If we help it, though.
If we help.
Yeah, I get concerned a lot about, I don't know if concern's the right word. I'm not like worried. I don't like
Yeah.
crawl into
Feel
a
it.
hole and like feel a lot of emotions about it or something. But yeah, I do worry about just like the direction things are going with global warming or climate change or whatever phrasing we want to use. Because I think there are going to be a lot of people that end up getting displaced by dramatic changes in climate in your area. So, yeah. It's one of the nice things about living in the Midwest is a lot of that is kind of protected from some of these effects, but certainly, you know, the United States and many, many, many other countries are going to have dramatic impacts.
Yeah, I feel like part of the reason why the Midwest is a little better is because we experience like both sides of the spectrum on like heat and cold, hot and cold. Whereas like Texas, when it was super hot all the time, most people don't have, I have to think of the right one, heaters. But like, and their housing wasn't built up. So when they had that freeze this last year, like a lot of places just aren't built.
Yeah, they're not insulated against really cold temperatures. So like their pipes all froze.
Yep.
Yeah, and I might have talked about this on the podcast before, so apologies to the longtime repeat listeners. But I took a trip to the Marshall Islands a number of years ago, and I think their highest elevation is like 7 feet above sea level. So, you know, in like the next 100 years, they could be completely under.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a big deal, and I'm thankful for what things are being done to help with climate change, and I hope that more gets done.
Yeah. You have to teach everyone your ways.
Yeah, that's why you're here right now.
Or do you ever have like an idea of like, ooh, I want to build something like this for people to be able to use something? Do you have an example that you're thinking of?
Yeah. In high school, I took up microbial batteries, which is producing electricity from microorganisms and dirt. And they are using it in some places, but it's not that well developed. So they can't use it in a bunch of places. Like right now, they're trying to use it for wastewater treatment in the US, but other places it's just enough electricity to get water to them, or just enough electricity to power like a sewage plant. So
how does that work then? Like, from like high level, like what? How does like some kind of biological battery, like how does that actually operate?
So I guess I would first say is it creates a difference in poles. So the way I was designing them was have one with less, I guess to put it, this is incorrect science-wise, but I'm just going to explain it like this.
It's correct podcast-wise.
Less electrons on one side and then more electrons on the other side. And the microorganisms or organisms can produce electrons that can flow through the wire or metal that you're using. So if you have less of those microorganisms on one side and more on the other, then you can create a current.
Gotcha.
Because the like side with more, it's like sending the
Sure.
electrons through.
Yeah.
Okay. Non-science wise.
Yeah, non-science wise.
So then, like in the context of, let's say, a sewage treatment plant, is the idea that you like feed or support the microorganism biome on one side of the battery using the very thing that you're trying to purify?
Yeah, so the sewage would have the microorganisms already in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're using that as the negative side. And then you just have to create a positive side
Okay.
to clean out the microorganisms that are
Right.
actually powering it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a, what is that called? A machine that runs on its own.
Perpetual motion
Perpetual motion. Yeah, we've done it.
machine. Yeah.
Maybe for some background, you said you're in college. What are you studying?
I am studying mechanical engineering.
Is there a relation there at all between like what you have been talking about, maybe designing stuff or maybe environmental stuff, and like why you decided to choose it? Or do you have a different reason, maybe?
Well, I will start out by saying I wish I was an electrical engineer, but I chose mechanical not really knowing what electrical was because I've never tried it in high school. So I was like, oh, electrical engineers just design the wiring and that's it. They do a lot more than that. But I didn't know that at the time. So I was like, I want to do more of the mechanical side of the electrical parts. So
do you have an opportunity to get an electrical engineering degree? Like, is there enough that you could like transfer and do that, or you're just gonna wrap up the mechanical?
I'm gonna wrap up mechanical.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And how much longer do you have left?
A semester.
Oh, very close. That's cool.
And she's gonna be in the real world.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's about the same.
I think it might be better.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So thinking back to our childhood, again, this is my sister. I feel like growing up, we both were like, no, I don't want to be an engineer. So like what switched that flipped that switch? I knew I was going to say it.
You nailed it.
I think since our parents were engineers, you gotta rebel against your parents a little. So I was like, I'm not becoming an engineer. I don't want to do that. But then I realized what engineers do, and it's actually what I wanted to do. So
There you go.
yeah.
There's no rebelling.
Okay. You go into mechanical engineering, you find out electrical might be more your thing, but you're going to finish mechanical. And then, like, what is your, like, dream job out of that, if it's not exactly what you intended?
My realistic dream job would be to work at a sustainable company, meaning sustainable for the environment, not just like, they can last a long time.
So not a company focused on creating sustainability solutions for people, but a company that is in itself sustainable in the way that they do their business.
Sustainable in the way they do their business for the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say that because I think I would be still happy there, because I would feel like I'm helping the world because I'm at a company that's doing good for the world.
But would it be another plus if they also produced products that were sustainable, like to improve the environment? Maybe it's a word.
I guess the way I took it is their products do have to be like sustainable.
Okay,
Yeah.
that helps.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's your realistic dream job. Well, let's say you're actually dreaming.
That was one dream.
My own dream job is that I would be the owner of my own business, creating products that are new to the renewable energy game. So,
Have you ever looked into like the patent process?
yeah, through school we have to do that. And there's pros and cons. And I'm kind of stuck on the cons right now, because if there's a sustainable product, then I don't want to be the only one to have it. Even if I came up with it, I want like the world to use it if it's that good, because then it betters the world instead of just people who can buy my product.
So you'd rather have like multiple people making this and like producing it?
Yep.
Sounds like a Shark Tank opportunity.
But you could theoretically patent it and then allow other people to make it.
Yeah, then it just creates more like tunnels that other people have to go through for.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But if you don't patent it, can't a big corporation just patent it?
Yep, that's
Okay.
true.
But then
Oh,
you
they
wouldn't
can't
get
patent
any-
it because I already came up with it.
Ah, gotcha.
If
Okay.
I
didn't
released
realize
it
that's how works.
first to like say the internet, then they can't patent it until they come up with a increased advantage on the product. So if I say that it's like made out of wood, and they're like, if I use this other material, it makes it better, then they can patent that. But patents are weird.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But if you were to patent it and then release it to the internet,
Then people still wouldn't be able to, unless
even
they
if
like bought it from me, or
okay.
they
Pay, like,
got
a
my
licensing.
hand signature saying it's okay that
Yeah.
you use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you think about going down that route? Like creating your own?
Creating my own products, yes, not patenting them. Yeah.
So under that kind of system, like how would you support your own lifestyle?
Yeah.
Luxurious as it is.
Because people are usually, sometimes lazy, and I don't want to build it myself. They just buy it from a company, and that's the company that I would basically be providing the products.
So you would still like you would like invent something and also
Yep.
manufacture.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I keep
How you
thinking of
doing,
something
Elisa?
and then it goes away. I don't know. You kind of talking about like sustainability, maybe owning your own company. I always imagined that when you said you're going to own your own company, I was like, is she going to like, I guess, grow your own food and like do that type of thing? Do you have any, because I know you're really into gardening.
Yep.
I know you're really into tropical fruits.
Yes.
Do you have any desire to eventually just grow all your own food?
Not all of it,
Okay.
because I feel like that's a lot.
It would be hard.
But grow a good portion of it. So like 60%.
How big is your dream garden?
It's a ranch.
Yeah, you're thinking too small.
Yeah. You gotta have an orchard of every single type of fruit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You gotta feed the entire community too.
So do you already know what location this ranch should be in to grow all this?
But you gotta dream big.
Yeah.
Would you have
Real
animals
big.
too?
I don't know. Maybe chickens. Maybe.
Ooh, for eggs?
Yeah.
Do you know
That's
anything
not
about
interesting.
like fungi growing?
Yeah, I'm thinking about in my future dream garden to have the paths lined with wood chips so I could just grow mushrooms there to eat.
Are you gonna have paths going all around your ranch?
No, but you gotta
Oh my God.
you gotta have a large
That's a
amount
lot
of
of wood
space to
chips.
have those orchards.
So do you have any advice for someone who's trying to prepare for like a potential worldwide nuclear holocaust, like if someone wanted to grow all of their own food, what should they be thinking about? And maybe that wouldn't apply in a nuclear scenario when like the climate changes. We can talk normal scenario and nuclear.
Are we going extreme right now?
Yeah, let's go extreme.
Okay, then I mean, I know nothing about this, but maybe have a bunker. So you can grow your food in your own bunker, and then have a lot of lighting.
I was
Okay.
like, where's the sunlight come from?
Well, you don't need it for mushrooms.
Well, for nuclear, you're not gonna want to grow outside.
Oh yeah.
Taking a step back from prepper jokes, how would someone go about setting up like a self-sustaining garden? Because I like think about things like, oh, if you grow the same thing in the same plot of soil often enough, it like leaches the minerals out, and you need to do like crop rotation and stuff, and I wouldn't even know where to begin.
I would say start small. If you want a little herb garden to grow like a lot of basil, then just set up a little pot near your windowsill and start growing basil, and then it slowly picks up and rolls into a very long downhill.
I see.
Is this from experience?
Yeah.
I was gonna say basil is really easy, but I haven't hit that downhill turn yet, I guess. Trying to do a bunch of other stuff. I guess what got you interested in growing like more and more? Like,
Is I just happened to start plants from plants that people gave me, or our grandparents gave me seeds from,
oh yeah.
or we bought from the grocery store, and then I started growing them. Then I started learning how plants grow, because each one is individual, and it's really interesting to learn the individual quirks of each plant. Yeah.
You mean when you say each plant, like each variety, or is it like every plant, even within a singular variety, can be different?
Each variety.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, each species.
When you asked your question about like knowing how to do it or like tips for doing it, in my head I was thinking, because I asked her for a lot of tips, I was like, every plant is different about like what you need to be doing or not, and so I was wondering if there's a specific one. Like, I was trying to grow jalapeno peppers this fall, whatever, and like I'm like have a little balcony outside my apartment, and I asked my sister like, what do I need to do? And so she was like, it's probably not going to get pollinated, so you have to pollinate it yourself. And she was giving me like different ways to try to pollinate my flowers, and none of them worked, by the way. I think my plant, as we said, was sterile.
Yeah.
So do your own research.
Yeah. Even because I know you're traveling, when you told me that like they still weren't pollinated, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to do for a Christmas present. I'm going to send a letter to everyone below her on like the column, and I'm going to ask them if I can give them flowering plants to put on their balcony so that they can take care of them.
Oh.
So I would lead the pollinators up to hers.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're traveling, so.
One downside of that too, yes, we're going to move out of there. So yeah, we don't care about that anymore. But two, I finally made the decision to let them die this week.
Oh,
So they might not be revived anymore. Even my basil plant.
That's okay.
Does that hurt your heart?
I've killed way more plants than you have,
Okay.
because I've tried growing
Impressive.
them, and then yeah, they just don't make it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed even your clothing is plant themed. Actually,
Yep.
was trying to do something similar. I didn't have anything specific, but I was
I'm
going
the
with like green.
sunshine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Letting you guys.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Photosynthesis.
Oh yeah.
Also, just for background, like, you think of someone going off to college, going to their dorm room, gotta bring the essentials,
Do you want me to state what I bring for my essentials?
Sure.
Okay. I bring a small amount of clothing, enough to like not do laundry for 2 weeks. That's about it. And then I bring a lot of cooking stuff. And then I bring plants, and that's all I bring.
I'm pretty sure there's like
Wow.
one car full of plants
Yeah.
and one car full of everything else.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing that you can grow? I guess any plant. I was thinking like fruit or vegetable, and I don't want to say like fruit or vegetable, but maybe what type of food, and then maybe just a plant in general.
A plant in general, it would be food related.
That someone
Yeah.
would normally eat.
What?
Like a plant that someone would normally eat and a plant that someone wouldn't normally eat. Two
Okay.
categories.
I would say it changes like, every week.
Oh.
But I guess right now, my favorite would be raspberries, and I don't grow raspberries.
Oh.
Mostly because I don't think our parents would pick them up because they kind of go rampant everywhere.
So, when thinking about, I'm thinking back to when you were talking about how you wanted to have your compost set up with organisms that are local to your area. Do you take the same approach with plants?
No.
Okay.
I try to go as exotic as I can. While also, being reasonable price-wise, because exotic plants are not that cheap.
Give me an example of an exotic plant that you grow.
Dragon fruit.
Oh, cool.
Yep. But I just bought a dragon fruit from the store, and it's been living for like 5 years now from seed.
Wow.
So
Which one is that one?
it's a cactus.
Okay. Didn't you like plant something? I got seeds in Hawaii or something. What is that one?
Passion fruit.
Yes.
Named Bomba John. He's very, very large. He's the biggest plant we have.
So I feel like some people have pets, and then some people have plants as their pets that
Yeah.
they take.
We like
Care
naming
of.
our plants too. We used to have a little, I don't even know what it was. It had these like little orbs coming off of it, and we named him Joffrey. Because we thought it would die right away because we didn't know how to like take care of it. And we were like, okay, it's okay to let Joffrey die. But he ended up surviving a really long time. It was really impressive. And he kept growing more of these little orbs.
Oh man.
Love that
Very
guy.
nice.
He's, rest his soul. But
Joffrey?
yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, is that after anything or just a
it's
fun
a
thing?
character in Game of Thrones who
Did he
is
have-
disliked.
I can't remember him right now, but it'll
He
come
was
back
like
to me.
the young prince or whatever.
Okay.
The blonde hair.
Yeah.
Kind of sadistic.
Yep. Okay. I remember him. Well, I was gonna say with this plant, a passion fruit, if you look up like a normal passion fruit plant, it's kind of grown, I almost imagine it like vineyards, because there's these vines that grow up like poles, and then they like make roofs over things. So you're supposed to have like metal bars going over the top so it can climb over that too. So just imagine this as a house plant. I don't know how to describe it, but it latches onto everything, and it literally vines in the house. I don't know if it's supposed to be a house plant, but obviously it doesn't survive the cold.
Do you have roommates?
Well, Bomba John stays at my parents' house.
Oh, okay,
So currently it's in her old room. And I think she's bringing this up because he may have taken down all of her pictures off the wall.
Yeah.
Because he got a little heavy for the pictures to hold on the wall, and he grabbed onto them, and then they just fell off the wall.
That is what I'm thinking of.
It's so fun. Like, plants are so powerful,
Yeah.
but on a different time scale than what we're used to. And it's like really cool to see them. I mean, they can break apart this building if we don't like catch them. Yeah.
I always love time lapses, or like even like some days I'll have a plant outside and like the next day it has a flower and I was like, how'd that flower get there? Like I didn't even see anything the day before, and I wish I like had a time lapse to just see it go.
Do you want to talk about the hackathon? Since you apparently have some experience with it.
I don't really know what hackathons are, but I know you've gone to a few during your college time, right? And I feel like you even said you wanted to do one while you were working like your internship this summer. And I just wondered, like, maybe especially for that one, like, what is your motivation behind doing this extra, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 days sometimes of like hard work? What's the motivation?
Yeah, can we start with because I have like a rough idea of a hackathon, because I've heard about them in like the video game space. They'll do like video game hackathons. But would you like to describe that for the audience?
So if you go to a great hackathon, then you get free food. You probably like 3 free t-shirts, was at college is like your wardrobe. So
a hackathon is about free food and t-shirts.
And then also doing the projects that you want to do. So it gives you a dedicated time to do whatever you want to do. Which is
like
what
coding an app or
yeah.
So and is it generally structured as like a competition with judges?
Yes. So it usually is a competition.
Is there usually like a theme or I'll just leave it at that.
Sometimes there's a theme, but I usually don't enjoy the theme ones, so I try to go to the non-theme ones where you can actually do anything.
Gotcha.
Because the themes kind of restrict you, or you have to, reroute your project into that theme.
Can you give an example of like a theme? I feel like you did one once.
Yeah, I did a theme one once, and
that was enough.
Yeah.
But what was the theme?
The theme was something along the lines of like getting people to go out and vote. Yeah.
So yeah, like all the projects had to be about that somehow, or like to improve that.
Yeah.
And was that affiliated with your university? Or was
that
it like
specific hackathon was Hack Seattle, I think. So it was like a women's hackathon to encourage women to go into those type of fields.
So what kind of project do you normally like to, I'll say, pitch at a hackathon?
I like to pitch the projects that I know are not the best, but it will make them laugh. If I can make the judges laugh at least once, it was a good pitch.
So what's an example of one of those projects?
A Whale of a Time, the first and only whale dating website.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Sounded very interesting.
The profiles were just, pictures of whales and then, a description of their bio.
Did you have algorithms to match them up?
No.
They could just meet other single whales online.
Yeah.
Yep. And you do it with a group usually, right?
Yeah. Doing it with a group is a lot more fun.
Maybe you did kind of answer this. I'm going to say, like, why go and make a whale dating app?
I don't know why you should go make a whale dating app.
I'm just sensing it's fun, it's entertainment.
Yeah, it does give you a time to learn something that you haven't and you've never had time to learn.
Oh, yeah.
So for that whale dating website, I learned HTML, JavaScript, and C++, which I didn't know at all beforehand.
I think it almost makes, to me, I have no idea if this is true or not, it would make like your resume stand out. Like, I learned these things, or like, tell me what you did with C++. And you're like, well, I made a whale dating app.
A whale of a time.
Yep.
Do you see yourself doing some after you graduate?
I do, because like this one one over the summer I wanted to do but didn't have time to. Technically, I can still finish it because, you know, it hasn't closed yet. But I'm just, yeah. I do it because I have a project that I want to do, but I have no time to do it. So that forces me to finish it within that deadline.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
yeah.
That would be good.
My American Sign Language translator, I wanted to do, but I had like no reason to do it until I was like, oh, just doing this hackathon, gonna finish it in 2 days and then send it off.
So you did that?
You
Yeah.
have something that translates American Sign Language, like visually?
Yeah, so it was a glove.
Yeah.
So
Oh, so
It could-
haptically.
Huh.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't even
And
know if that's a
then-
word, actually, but
And then, you know, I only did the letters of the alphabet so you could spell out words because 2 days is not a lot.
yeah.
cool.
So it would read basically that, you know, this finger is pressed down, this finger is pressed down or like bent, and that your thumb is like on this position.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd
And
work
so-
for anyone's hands. Did you try other hands?
Yeah, it was just a glove.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it would print it out on a screen.
That's cool.
Huh.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
See, I told you gotta show off these ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me more. Cool. I'm gonna be thinking about that one for a bit. Is it all pressure sense then?
I was working on a pretty much zero budget. So I got a pair of gloves and then I got 2 metal aluminum cans. And so I made all of my sensors out of those aluminum cans and copper wire.
You're completing circuits. Is that what's
Yeah.
telling it where your hand is at?
And I was also making, I don't know what they're called, but variable resistors. So when they're bent, I think they produce more current. When they're open, they produce less. And so I can read that.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, because I'm sure like not all signs have connecting points. Like you might have 2 signs that are very similar that have like,
Yeah.
don't complete the circuit.
Or like completing the circuit between fingers.
Mhm.
Because
Ah.
like when you're doing K, these 2 are apart. So you wouldn't be completing the circuit there.
Right.
But this one would be bent or not?
For the audio listeners, we're all just like moving our hands around.
No, the variable resistor was
other knuckles.
yeah,
Okay.
the top 2 knuckles.
Interesting. I really wonder if
Ooh,
there's
I
like
love it.
actual gloves out there like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy those gloves
Oh, really?
with you know, legitimate sensors.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool though. You can just build it from scratch.
Yep.
Yeah, I own this product that you like connect to your computer, and it takes like it's got like I think it's 2 cameras, and it like tracks your hands, and so however you move your hands, it'll show like a virtual like 3D modeled version of what your hands are doing on your computer screen.
Yeah.
So I was thinking when you first brought up the topic, I was like, oh, I wonder if it's like some kind of like camera setup like that, but it's like reading the actual motions.
Yeah.
That's what
But I think it's so
too.
much cooler that it's like a glove. Like that to me is really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one, something I just thought of that Alexa has made is, like I've said, I'm not very good with plants. And so I never know when to water them. And so she can like take a sensor, put it in the dirt, probably measure like the moisture level, right? And so then I just like, oh yeah, can it just like light up when I need to water it? But I have this like nice little handy dandy system that yes, I can turn it on and off. So then it probably saves the battery. But if I turn it on, it will have I think it'll have a light if it needs water, but it also just has a screen that reads like not thirsty or
Water me.
I need water, bro.
dying.
Yeah, exactly. So it tells me on there, and it has like 2 settings, one for more of like a vegetable type of growth. I would say
like more heavy watering, and then
yep, and
less
then one
heavy.
for a lighter water.
So that's something that you've made
Then get into
but
it.
haven't manufactured for the broader public yet.
Yep.
I mean, there's way better ones out there. So
So this is a product
Yeah.
that exists. Okay.
yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I've never seen something like that. But maybe I'm not keeping my eyes
Because when you built it, I was like, all right, can I be the brains behind how to get this to a manufacturer, and then she can do all the other stuff?
out there's like, if you Google, humidity sensor Arduino, there'll be like thousands.
Not sponsored.
Yeah. Yet.
Thank you.
Yeah, my brain, I'm always fascinated by this because my brain doesn't work exactly like that. I have a very, I feel like I used to be creative when I was younger, and I feel like I've kind of lost that sense of creativity. Maybe this is a question. Do you actively try to keep your creativity going, or is it natural? Creativity. How do you keep it going?
I don't know. Usually when I'm late at night, I cannot do anything that requires hardcore thinking. But weirdly enough, that's when I'm most creative. So when I'm laying in bed, getting ready to go to sleep, I usually try to think of random stuff that, just cycles through your brain, and then eventually I usually come to a topic where I'm like, never thought of that. And occasionally I write it down. Sometimes they're just way bad ideas, and late at night I know they're bad ideas, which is why I have a page of bad ideas.
Yeah. I love the idea of keeping track of bad ideas and supporting them, because they oftentimes lead to actual good ideas. It's just a little burst of inspiration.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, even journaling, I feel like a lot of people are big proponents, is that the right word, of constantly doing that, because I feel like it just makes you think even more, or focus your thinking too.
Yeah. I end up usually calling all my ideas bad ideas. That way you set the bar low so that you can feel achieved when you go higher than that. Yep.
Yeah, I really love that. That's good.
Bad ideas are great.
Yes.
Yes.
Next time I call you or you call me, I'm going to ask you, what was your last bad idea? It'll actually be something interesting, not oh my God, I ate too much pizza or something like that.
Yeah.
That's me this weekend.
What was your last bad idea?
I was trying to think of something that
Trying to
happened
think
this
of a
weekend.
funny joke to say when I come downstairs.
Yep, that's probably my last bad idea. That's my answer. We'll say that.
Well, you'll get me one of these days.
No, this weekend I thought, so a lot of weekends I've just been a little bored because I'm not studying. And so sometimes when I sit there for an hour or two, I'm just oh my God, why did I spend this time watching a TV show when I could have done this? That's my bad ideas. It's not really on the same level of ideas that you're talking about, but sometimes it's just at work. I go down a rabbit hole and I'm this did not turn out right. Rewind.
I think there's with how ubiquitous entertainment is in our lives, it's there's a compulsion whenever you have free moments just to fall into your normal entertainment routine, and that can really hold you back from taking action on your ideas.
Yeah. I've found that when I go into I am going to watch YouTube and learn, because what I do on YouTube is I try to learn something, but also that holds me back from completing my ideas. So usually I shut it off and I hold my idea notebook. And sometimes I read through it. There's some good ideas that I forget that I've had, and ideas including theories about the universe. But
Oh, let's get into that. This was not on the agenda, but you said it. What's our universe all about?
oh, I don't know. But I'll give you an example of an idea I've had.
Okay.
So, time travel.
I do know.
Yeah.
So if we were to create, I will first do some definitions. So like laminar flow means basically everything is continuous. There's no turbulence basically. So if we had a laminar flow of light going one direction, and if we were to propel ourselves in the opposite direction of that light, would that be time traveling? Because you would be going faster than light in the opposite direction.
You mean the relative speed difference would be greater than the speed of light?
Yes.
No. Wait. Well, because I think as soon as you enter the stream, wouldn't it no longer be laminar? Because you would disrupt the photons.
Possibly, but
Yeah, what's your answer?
yeah.
I have no idea. I'll believe
I just
whoever
wanted to
tells
see the
me
panic in your
something. But I will say, do you have people that you discuss this with normally? Okay, that's
Yep.
good.
Usually, my physics friends that like discussing the universe.
I can't say that I knew what that word was or have thought about it before, so
If you've ever seen I don't know, like a container of liquid and you poke a hole in it and the liquid comes out really smoothly, almost where you can't even tell that it's like flowing,
yeah.
but it is. That's a laminar flow.
Okay.
And it's always nice to see.
It is. It is. I mean, getting the laminar flow of light, I think that's almost impossible. But if it could be done.
I don't know how that would make the scenario differ from just like any old beam of light and moving in the opposing direction to it. Like if I walk toward our lighting setup, how is that different than the scenario you describe?
I would say because you're not moving faster than the speed of light. Because when you're moving faster than the speed of light, you can see
But wouldn't the
what
relative
you wouldn't have before.
if
Or see what you previously saw a couple half second ago.
I might have misunderstood the initial scenario. We can also talk about it later. Help us out in the comments. You two grew up together. Did you fight a lot?
No.
No,
I was like, what
But-
are you going to say?
but I was secretly competitive with her. I don't know if you were secretly. I assumed that you weren't competitive with me, at all.
Probably not.
But every single time you did something and mom was like, oh my goodness, Elisa did this, and praised it to everyone else, I was like, okay, gotta do that in my future now.
It's my destiny.
Just gotta show her up once.
That's why I think I wasn't competitive, because probably I was going through stuff and then you would kind of follow, but you did different things that I was still kind of jealous of not being able to do as well. So maybe I am a competitive person though, but I didn't feel like that. Yeah.
I still know the backwards ABCs because mom said, oh my goodness, I can't believe Elisa knows the backwards ABCs. This is so amazing. And so I sat down with a picture of the alphabet and memorized the backwards ABCs just so I could do it also.
Is that copyrighted? Just kidding.
I don't think so. Wait, no, don't do it yet. Who can do it faster?
Oh my gosh.
3, 2, 1. Go.
CYXWDUT SRQPONM LKJ IHG FDP CBA.
EDCBA.
Alexa got it.
I am going to go back and listen if I actually said a letter up top.
Cool. So you felt competitive, or you felt like a drive to achieve more than Elisa, even though she didn't notice.
Yeah.
Did that ever go away? Do you still feel it?
Let's just say my goal was to complete college in 3 years because she did in 3.5.
Oh.
I missed that. I'm doing it in 3.5. I'm at least staying, at our same level.
That doesn't always have to be a good thing, though, to do it in 3.5.
How do you feel about that?
I do. So, I will say, I feel like I felt pressure growing up, not actual, where it hinders me or anything, or makes me worry. But I feel like I noticed I'm definitely a role model. This feels weird to say, I'm bragging or something, but I could see that you kind of look up to me is maybe what I noticed.
So you feel some responsibility for how she turns out?
Maybe not how you turn out, but the examples that I show you. Because we were both pretty good kids too. So I always say that she was probably a good kid, meaning she followed more rules than I did. Not that I broke that many rules either. Mm-hmm. But I wonder if that's part of the competitive thing. I'm never gonna make our parents mad when Elisa made our parents mad once or something like that. I don't know.
Do you agree with that assessment?
Maybe. I don't know.
We were kind of little goody two-shoes, I would say.
Yeah. I climbed my first tree this year because my parents weren't around, so my mom couldn't yell at me for climbing a tree. It was amazing.
Looking back, I haven't thought about the climbing tree thing in a while, but as, for example, babysat for the first time this weekend, I would never want those kids climbing a tree. So I get it now. Eventually we'll understand.
I don't think I've ever climbed a tree, although I'm sure I could do it really easily because I'm a rock climber. But yeah, I also have a fear of heights, so I'm not seeking out opportunities to get up there.
You're a rock climber, but you have a fear of heights?
Yeah, I'm kind of a rock climber because I have a fear of heights as well.
How does that work out?
Just fine. It took a few years to kind of get over that fear hump and not lock up every time that I got above a certain height. But once I reached that point and got better at trusting my equipment, trusting my training, yeah, most days I can keep the fear suppressed, bottled up deep inside.
Does it give you some adrenaline to have that fear?
No.
Oh.
Because if I'm letting myself experience it enough to feel adrenaline, then I'm going to be feeling the fear and not performing well. So I have to move the fear away from myself to be able to climb effectively. I have to blank my mind as much as possible.
So what was it like growing up as me as the little sister?
I don't know how to answer that. You were just my little sister. I don't know. I do think it's interesting. So we're 5.5 years apart. And I feel it kind of makes a difference where you aren't always interested in the same things. So maybe that's why we fought less too, because we're not fighting over the same things, but it also made it harder to really play a lot with each other, I think. I feel we still played a lot with each other, but maybe one of us well, okay, I'll play this. Okay, I'll play this type of thing. But
I was the same growing up. So I've got an older brother and older sister, and there's 4 or 5 years in between each of us. So we all grew up in the same household, but we're definitely at different levels of development, while growing up together. So I kind of know how that is.
Yep.
Yeah. Were you the oldest, youngest, or middle?
Youngest, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is super nice being youngest.
Yeah, did you look up to your older siblings as a role model?
Yeah, and I still do. I love seeing like how they've built their lives, started their own families, what they've done professionally. And I wouldn't say like, it's not like I'm trying to do the same things that they've done, but I want to make sure I hold myself to a similar standard for myself. I don't know if that, I think that makes sense. This isn't something I've actually like thought through yet. But yeah, there's like some kind of like internal, like I gotta try to do well and try to like put my own personality into the work that I do and go a bit above and beyond in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't think I had that pressure. Like I talk about this sometimes with younger sibling people. How it was kind of just like, I think I looked more at the world like, okay, I can't mess up because I'm the first one going this way or something like that. Like, so I can't mess up type of thing.
How often do you two talk?
How often she answers my FaceTimes.
I was gonna see what you said. I was gonna see. I trusted your answer of how often you called me. Maybe once every other week.
Oh, that's
what I would say.
I feel like that's really frequent.
Maybe less sometimes, but what do you think?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay.
Yeah. Would you answer more if she didn't FaceTime and instead did a normal call?
No, I think I like the FaceTimes.
Oh.
Maybe so. Yes, in the way that like if she would have called me and I was busy, I would more likely answer and then say, "Oh, I'm busy," and then leave. Whereas like FaceTime, I know she's just calling just to call, so I know I can ignore it if I'm busy. So definitely call me if you need me for an important reason that I should be answering the phone.
Note taken.
Or follow it up with a text, because then I'm like, oh crap.
I mean, usually if it's important, then I usually just text you, which I feel like is less important than calling, but I know that you'll see it at least sometimes.
Because like a lot of times I get a text and just look at my watch.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm very happy for you.
Thanks.
How often do you talk to your siblings?
I probably talk to each of them on the phone a few times a year, see them in person once or twice a year, and then text probably a half dozen times throughout the year, which I think it's like a good amount. You know, they've got like full families and stuff. Just takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I'm also
different stages.
kind of an out of sight, out of mind personality. So yeah, I feel like we've got a really good relationship. Just touch base periodically.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I feel bad that like some people call their parents often. You probably call our parents way more than I do. Whereas like I probably text them every day, but I never call them type of thing unless there's a big problem that I need help with. Otherwise, yeah. Because like how often do you call our parents?
I feel like I call them like at least once a week, but mom calls me or dad calls me every other day. So if I don't call,
How often do you get called, Elisa?
Never. Nope. Yeah, I don't actually usually get called unless they're trying to get urgent information from me. But I do text them a lot. I was wondering because like Dan and his sister, he'll call his parents when he's like, oh yeah, I haven't called them in a while. Maybe it's after a week. But I think his sister calls him at least once a day, if not more. So yeah, there's just two different dynamics with everyone.
I would say it's more frequent during the summer though too, because I like having them on speaker so I don't have to hold the phone. But during actual college, it's way less frequent. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, Alexa.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Is there anything that you want to plug before we wrap up? Any events you want people to be aware of, or maybe social media?
Subscribe to the Who You Know podcast. Maybe comment and like.
Oh, you don't have to say that. Thank you. We need all the help we can get. Thanks again. Such a pleasure having you on.